Welcome to the Dean's Table. I'm Paul Ambrose, Dean of the College of Business and Economics, CoBE, at UW-Whitewater. This podcast is all about journeys that our alumni have taken from the time here at CoBE to where they are now. Every episode, I sit down with someone who's built something remarkable, not just a career, but a life. And I want to know, how did they do it? What were the pivots? The moments that changed everything. If you ever wondered what it really takes to build a meaningful career, or if you're navigating your own career path and need some perspective, this show is for you. So let's pull up a chair and get started. Let me go ahead. Okay.
I think we just got to let it
We just
flow.
got to let it go. Okay, let's just start chatting. Okay. And today I'm joined by Brian Huels, who is not only an alum of UW-Whitewater and from the college, he's also a colleague. And it's a very interesting career path, and it's a kind of a story that we'll have to share with you all. Brian was worked in the industry for quite a while, and then he's currently an academic. So I'm looking forward to hearing what Brian has to talk to us and share his experiences moving careers and carving out a very successful career. So to get started, Brian, why don't you just tell us what you're doing right now?
Yeah, so thank you for having me. So right now I'm an associate professor here at Whitewater. I teach accounting. I teach specifically tax and then intro accounting. I've been here roughly 9 years and loving it. So that's where I'm at right now.
Wow, so that's a long way from where you got started way back. I think you said you're a graduate 1998.
Yep, I started at Whitewater in 95.
Okay.
I graduated in
98, and that's pretty quick to a 3-year plan.
Yeah, I had this desire that, I needed to get out and start working and make money. And so I graduated in 3.5 years to get into accounting.
Okay.
Yeah.
And 98 is a long time. It's the last century. So let's go back to the beginnings. Let's start a little bit about what brought you to Whitewater. How did you choose our college and your major? And if you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and I'll be super honest. I hope it's helpful to people listening. So I'm from Illinois. I actually still live in Illinois. When I was finishing up high school, it was like, well, what do I do next? My father's an accountant.
Okay.
My grandfather was an accountant, so it was like, well, I've seen what they've done in life. It seems like it's worked well. I think I'm going to be an accountant. Didn't probably know as much as I do now about what that meant. But then the question became, well, where do I go?
Okay.
I was never the best test taker. My ACT score was not super high. So some of the Illinois schools, like University of Illinois at that time, I wasn't going to be able to get in. I visited Northern Illinois. And then a friend had said, you should check out Whitewater. And I came up here and I checked it out, and the campus was awesome. The tuition, even as an out-of-state student, was less than it would have been if I went to Northern as an in-state student. And for me, it was 2.5 hours from where I lived. It was perfect, perfect size. I just kind of, from the initial campus visit, it just felt like where I needed to be.
It's a great story how we even came here. I mean, thanks for being candid about being not a great test taker, because if you fast forward to today, what you are, and you have a doctorate in business with accounting, and it is things like test taking, there's a lot of literature about why it is biased towards certain people. And I'm glad that you brought it up and saying that, yep, that was not your cup of tea, but still that's not a barrier to where you could be. I'm sure a lot of our listeners would appreciate listening to that and saying that just because I'm not a great test taker, I cannot really make it really well, big in my career. We'll circle back to that in whatever ways we can, but let's jump a little bit more into your time in UW-Whitewater. So you came here, and your career path was accounting because grandfather, father. Yep. It's very common. I mean, in some ways, you're lucky that way. Some of our students may not have that background. I mean, they could be first generation and they're looking for guidance outside. but you had a path coming here. At least you wanted to try accounting, but you stuck to it. So when you came here, what was your experience in Whitewater like? I mean, you spent 3.5 years. What were your high points, low points, things that you learned, made you
Yeah.
better, made the mistakes you made? I mean, let's open it up and talk about
Oh
your
gosh,
time
we
and
can do all of it. So I lived in the dorms the whole time.
okay.
Airy 402.
Uh-huh.
Was in that dorm room the whole time. And I mean, you go full honesty. I mean, I remember I won't say the acronym, but I walked on campus and was told things about being from Illinois that I had never heard before. But made some really good friends.
Uh-huh.
Eaton and Drumlin and
Okay.
Esker, and got involved throughout with a lot of different things, and a lot of people that know me. A lot of this I don't even probably share, but for a small bit, I was actually a diver on the swim dive team here.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was, and some of this I don't say super loud because people judge you by it, which is the life we're in. But I was also a cheerleader
Okay.
on the Spirit team. I played lacrosse while I was here. But specific to the accounting and College of Business,
Uh-huh.
I got involved pretty early on with the Collegiate Entrepreneurial Organization, CEO, which
Okay.
exists
Still
to
there.
this day.
Mhm.
Institute of Management Accountants, which was a group that
I am. Mhm.
we've evolved into a different student org now, and then Beta Alpha Psi.
Mhm.
And through college, I think what I found was it wasn't necessarily I was a bad test taker. I just had to learn how I needed to learn.
Mhm.
And that kind of came through college, and I had a couple instructors, one within the accounting department. He taught information systems at the time that really just made an impact. That it's not about the test, it's about the lifelong learning.
Okay.
And I think that was the class that planted the seed for someday I think I want to teach, and planted the seed for this is how you're going to get through life.
Okay.
Right? Like life's not a test. Like it just doesn't just end and everything goes away. There's always more, and to look forward to that in life. And a lot of that kind of came here at Whitewater.
And digging a little bit deeper into your accounting program here, and the 90s, a long time ago, and I wasn't here. So do you recall it, teachers, professors who made an impact on your life and all pointed you in the right direction?
Yeah, there were several. When I started here, so I've been here 9 years. When I first started, there was actually still a member of the department that was actually here when I went to school.
Okay.
So Michael McDonald,
Okay.
who's since retired, but he was teaching when I was here, so it's kind of full circle. But Ken Maker,
Okay.
he I don't know exactly when he left, but he made a big impact. Dr. Gruber,
Okay.
who's passed away, but he made a huge impact. In me, Weatherwax, really
Yeah.
all the teachers.
Yeah.
It's almost if you said, give me a list of 5 friends you have from college or a list of 5 instructors, I can give you the instructors quicker than I can give the friends. Like that. That's what Whitewater was. It was back then, and we still keep the same class size today. Was you got to know your faculty members. It wasn't just get done with my class and go on with life. It was, I'm investing in you to help move you forward. And I guess for me that was the big thing in teaching, because I think it's one of the few places in life where people can pour into you everything they have. Like there's no reason for a teacher to not give 100% of their knowledge. Where I think sometimes in the workforce you don't always get that, because there's the fear of, well, that's my competitive edge. If I teach someone that, what do I have? And college, I really just felt that everybody I was around was just pouring into me to try to make me a better person.
As a dean, listening to what you're saying, it always makes me happy to. I mean, when I talk to alums, they talk about something similar about Whitewater. There'll be at least one or a few faculty who made a difference in their lives, and they'll always ask about is that person here still, or where are they right now? And it's just not in CoBE too. I've seen alums singling out faculty from outside the college, because our degree is just not about your major. It's a whole holistic 120 credit degree. And at some point in time, somebody touches you and makes a difference. And it's glad to hear that you had a lot of good teachers and mentors as you went through your undergraduate program here.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And as I graduated, right, so there's roughly 20 years between my graduation and coming back to Whitewater where I completed my doctorate, where I've never been the best at keeping friends and keeping in touch. LinkedIn didn't exist back then. So when I started the doctorate program or was considering it, I reached out to Dr. Baker, Dr. Gruber, and I'm like, gosh, I'm thinking about this doctorate. I don't know if you remember me. And, both of them responded immediately, right? Which is, I think, a Whitewater thing. You email an instructor, you get heard back from right away. But they both said, oh, gosh, like, how you been? How's life? Totally remember you. And it just was... It felt good, right? That not only did they make an impact on my life, but I guess at some level, maybe they realized that they did make a difference in mine too. So
let's talk a little bit more about the time you spent between your undergraduate graduation to before you came back to do your doctorate. So you worked as an accounting professional in the profession. Could you talk a little about those experiences and how Whitewater prepared you for that, and maybe things that you learned on the way working in industry that you like to share with our listeners?
I mean, I'll be very blunt. So I went to work at the time. It was McGladrey, now RSM.
Okay.
I worked in their Chicagoland office. The thought was always that I would go back and work with my father.
Okay.
Right. But it was me being stubborn. I want to prove that I'm smart enough, good enough, able. So I went to work for RSM and I got into their tax area. And I really love tax. So I stayed there roughly 5 years and I got to a point where it's like, I love tax, but it feels like something's missing in life. Now, to your question of like lesson in life, at some point you got to learn how to say no.
Okay.
Right. So I worked a lot, right? And in accounting, you need to work a lot. I think basically any occupation you want to move your career forward quickly, you need to work a lot. But I do remember my record of hours in a week, it was 117, which was crazy. So part of my leaving RSM was I burnt myself out.
Okay.
And I feel bad about that, right? So several of the people that I worked with are all partners now. So I do always go, gosh, if I didn't burn out, what would the other path in life have been?
Okay.
Now with the path I'm on, I love. Like it's been completely amazing. I wouldn't change teaching at all. But so yeah, I did RSM. After 5 years, I'm like, there's got to be something different in life. So I actually left accounting and got into more entrepreneurial stuff, which kind of ties back to the CEO organization in college. So anyway.
So you spent some time as an entrepreneur. Did you start companies or you?
I did. So when I left RSM, I had sold my house, cashed out my retirement, went all in, and I opened up a boat business.
Okay.
So I started a boat business where we sold, serviced, and stored water ski boats.
Okay.
In Rockford, Illinois. Did all that college stuff. And it's at some level, I would say this. We did the business plan, and the business plan was like, this is going to be tight. And there was this background thought of, well, all that stuff in college, if you work hard, it'll work out. Like, even though the numbers are close, we'll just work hard and it'll work out. I mean, so the first month we were open, it was like, oh shoot, like we're going to hit these numbers exactly. And this is going to be a hard go. So we made it 3 years, which was what our lease was. And we ended up closing that business. So I guess in hindsight of a life lesson is the stuff you learn in college is not just theory from a book, it's theory tied to life. And if your numbers don't make sense, don't open up a boat business.
That's a good point, but I'll also sort of add more in the sense that we higher education institutions equip you with base knowledge, skills, and abilities. but what you do with it, it's up to the person.
Yeah.
And sometimes what you do with it has to come by doing things, making mistakes, learning and moving on. But your example of, I picked up two things. I mean, you said you worked for RSM. Probably, I know most folks who go into accounting, public accounting especially, they work too much. So there's a high burnout rate there. So you probably learned how to balance life, and then you tried something interesting. And I think our listeners should also hear that in the sense that you don't have to doing the same thing. And if there's a calling, if you feel a tug, go try it out. Otherwise, you're going to be regretting, why did I ever do that? Or why didn't I do that?
Yeah,
But
no,
I applaud you for doing that. I mean, it is not, I wouldn't say it was a failure, but I'm sure it helped you to the lot of learning points that you're using today
I
from
learned a
that.
lot. I
Yeah.
learned a lot. And if I think back on
Yeah.
college, and I had done this, and I try to tell my students, I think the mindset of I'm an accountant, I'm going to do the accounting clubs, and I'm going to hang out with accountants, which is great. But I always encourage them, like, you need to hang out with marketing, you need to hang out with management, you need those contacts, and you also need to join those clubs, right? So, like CEO, AMA, like, there needs to be cross mixing, and that's both sides, right? Like, if you're in marketing, you need to go attend an accounting organization
Yeah.
club because the world has changed where like we're this big pie and you got to have all the pieces in that pie for life to work.
Yeah.
And the sooner you can get those pieces, not just a link in like, oh, I know Dr. Ambrose, but like you really know them. I think it makes the pie just cook a little bit quicker and can get you where you want to be.
So great stuff there. But before we transition to your when you started doing your doctorate, is there anything else in that phase of your life you like to share? Or
I think my parents had put in me that it's okay to try and fail, right? You do your best, and if your best doesn't work, at least you know you did your best. So I went from the marina, then I started up a software business focused on marinas. After that, I went into private accounting. I left private accounting and actually went back to work with my father for a few years, which I loved, to be honest with you. I loved it. Amazing. And it was one of those, something's missing in life. Like I love seeing my dad every day. I love what I'm doing. I love helping the clients we have, but I'm like, something's missing. And some of that came through some church stuff, but what was missing was like, I feel like I need to do more teaching. And that was the catalyst to start exploring teaching. Yeah.
So that's a nice segue into your second career in the sense that transitioning from working in private sector industry to academic. It's a big jump. I've done that too. I worked in industry and then I switched over to academics. But I like to hear your journey into academics. So moving into academics is just not you just turn a switch off on and then move in. You give some thought, and there are a lot of options, different types of schools. But what brought you to academics, especially to UW-Whitewater, and your thought process, if you could share with our listeners?
and this will be very open. I was reading a book. Most of my reading is accounting related, right? So I don't read a ton outside of accounting, but it was I think it was titled 30 Days to Live, and it was really if you knew you were gone in 30 days, what would you do over those 30 days? And each chapter was 2 pages to 5 pages, and there was a challenge. And one of those challenges was if you were gone in 30 days, what would you do for a career? And that was me going, well, I teach. I know I want to teach. So I got into that, right? Now, the tough part is if you've never taught, very few people want to hire you because the presumption is, well, you don't know how to teach, right? So I started in Rockford, Illinois, where I'm currently living, at a local career college. And the first class I ever taught was geometry. Right? Just
from accounting to geometry.
Because I need to see if I can even do this, right? So I started teaching geometry, and then they're like, okay, he figured out geometry. We'll let him teach an intro accounting course. I did that, and that had gone well. And then I had stepped up into some other institutions. So in Rockford, there's a university. I taught there. And at that time, UW was coming out with their doctorate degree.
Mm-hmm.
And this you might actually find funny. So I was an alum,
Uh-huh.
right, back in '98, and one of the other accounting faculty members came to me and goes, "Hey, did you know Whitewater's starting a doctorate program? You went there, didn't you?" And I'm like, "I didn't know that." So he had gotten a mailer
Uh-huh.
about the doctorate program, and for some reason I didn't.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, "Well, let me see that."
Uh-huh.
Um, so I started looking at it, and I came up here for the information
Uh-huh.
sessions, and I'm like, man, this seems like this could work. Now, for me, it was never a desire to change where I was teaching at.
Uh-huh.
It was this can keep moving life in this direction.
Mm-hmm.
More insurance, more knowledge, learn how to research, all that other stuff. So I enrolled here in the doctorate program, part of the first cohort, and 3 years later ended up graduating. And in that time, towards the tail end, there happened to be some postings here at Whitewater.
Mm-hmm.
A friend had said, "Oh, you should apply." And, full transparency, I was like, "Well, they're not going to hire me. I'm graduating from their program." And, sometimes that doesn't work. And a friend said, "I've seen you teach. I think you're pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should apply."
Mm-hmm.
And I applied, and 9 years later, I'm still here.
Mm-hmm.
Have an awesome department, awesome support, and awesome students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are glad you're here. And you're the first cohort, so that was 2014 you started here.
Yes.
So you graduated from the undergraduate in 1998, and it took you about 16 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of good, valuable experience to come back and being a faculty and teaching the next generation. So, sort of dig a little bit into that. How did that experience make you a better teacher? Or things that you incorporate from your other career into your academic career? Because we find a lot of faculty who all the career has been only in academics. There are very few of us who had seen both worlds. In your case, do you see that you teach different because of your professional experience?
It's a hard one to answer because I don't, I sit through colleagues' classes,
Uh-huh.
and anything I would say would never want to come up. I'd like to think I teach slightly different.
Uh-huh.
And I think accounting is an unbelievable major, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like when I went into opening up a boat business, my accounting degree did great.
Mm-hmm.
Software business, accounting degree did great. Now you might laugh in hindsight and go, "Well, they failed, Brian. How great did it do?" But the skill sets I learned through that degree combined with the extracurriculars that I did
Uh-huh.
gave me a skill set that allowed things to go forward, right? So the way I teach, I guess, is like especially at the intro level,
Uh-huh.
which I teach tax, which is still at the intro level. Like this is stuff you need for life, guys. Like this is a life skill, and I'm gonna make you see how exciting this is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like to me, teaching is a little bit of I don't want to say entertainment, but I'm going to use the word because I can't think of a better one right now. Like if I can't hold your attention for an hour 15, something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can't within 20 minutes make you see how important this is to the
Mm-hmm.
rest of your life,
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing something wrong, right? So, like when I teach, typically I like cell phones. I love them out because if I see you grab your cell phone at some level, that's an indication to me that I'm failing, right? That I'm
Mm-hmm.
not making you see how important this is, right? It's kind of like, when my wife's having our first child, and the first thing I'm doing is pulling out my phone to get on Facebook. Like I'm not truly invested in this process. So like teaching to me is that way, is that like you need this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think nothing, I get irked sometimes too. It's like, well, I don't need this because I'm a marketing major or I'm this. I'm like, you need this. And I take that as a personal failure where, okay, we got to talk more because you need this. I need you to understand you need this. I don't know. Does that answer the question?
It does. It does. And I would also probably add that some of the things you do, you may not attribute it X equals Y kind of scenario. It automatically sort of seeps into who you are, your professional experience. You may not parse it out saying that because of my professional experience, I'm doing this, but it is the influence of your professional experience is making you do it without even you realizing.
And that's very
Yeah,
true. And
yeah.
all of that, when we get into those that teach, I think you teach in two ways. The way someone taught you, you loved.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way you teach.
Mm-hmm.
Um, School was very difficult for me, right? I was of an older generation where, we weren't diagnosed with certain things and stuff like that, but like school was very
Uh-huh.
difficult for me. So some of my teaching is really to take everything I didn't like
Uh-huh.
and do the complete opposite. Um, so it's caused, I told you my work week at RSM. When I first started teaching, it was the same issue. I was working 100 hours a week to like, I got to be better. I got to be better. And that took some time to go, if I don't change, I'm going to burn out of teaching as well.
So that's a little interesting. It'll be a segue to my next question. So a lot has changed since you graduated in 1998 to students now graduating 25 plus years later. Uh, what would be so in your perspective? What has changed for our students graduating today? See, again, if an accounting student is graduating and going to work, and a lot of our students go work in public accounting, to what you experienced 25 years ago, and what has changed, and how do you advise students to adapt to today's reality?
It's a really good question. And obviously, this is just opinion,
Uh-huh.
right? But I think the shift that I've kind of seen is 20 years ago, you had a college degree,
Uh-huh.
you got a good job,
Okay.
right? Like, oh, you got a degree, you got a job, right? And I think where I've seen a shift is it's not about the degree matters,
Uh-huh.
right? The piece of paper matters, but it's what you do in the process of getting that piece of paper that matters. And I think
Uh-huh.
this is becoming an even bigger issue right now with AI and
Okay.
how easy it is to get information. That is it okay to use AI? I say sure it is, but that has to be part of the learning. If it's AI because I got the assignment right and I got a degree, you just spent a lot of money that's not going to move life forward, right? Like the piece of paper doesn't guarantee the great job. The piece of paper is the ticket to play, and it's the ability to take advantage of the all the opportunities,
Mhm.
right? And now that Whitewater, we have this big online presence with students, and when I talk to them, like, you got to get involved, right? I think it's very easy for online students to check out a little bit. I was
Mhm.
talking with a student last night in North Dakota, awesome guy, and I'm like, "Are you coming to our online virtual student meetings?" Well, no, no, and I'm like, "Man, you got to do that." And oh, yeah, I didn't know it was there. Like, there are so many opportunities everywhere on campus, whether you're online or on campus, that you got to take advantage of,
Mhm.
because that combined with what you learn in the classroom with the piece of paper, right, when
Uh-huh.
you graduate, that's what moves life forward.
There's a lot more opportunities to integrate things into your learning experience. I mean, 98, there was no really internet the way we are seeing it today.
No
No cell
Facebook,
phones,
no Facebook.
no Facebook.
I remember my college dorm room, airy, right? My little computer, I think it was a 12-inch screen,
Uh-huh.
and you had to plug in for dial-up. No, it's changed, but and there's just more opportunities.
Eg-
Yeah.
So sometimes I think if there was YouTube when I was in college and we had a question, I would have gone to YouTube too, apart from sitting in the class. And now AI is there. How do we use all of this? There are a lot more uh, tools available. It's how you use them. Uh,
Yeah,
y-
there's so much, and I think you got your instructors, you got your faculty here that are they want to pour everything they
yep.
they can into you, but they can only meet you
Uh-huh.
halfway, right? So go to your professor office hours,
Uh-huh.
right? If your teacher doesn't know you by your first name instantly when they see you, that's not that you have a bad teacher. It's you're not making yourself known. It's the same thing at work, right? Like, oh, the CEO doesn't know
Uh-huh.
me. Well, most CEOs aren't walking down the hall just trying to memorize people's names. Make them know you, right?
Hmm.
And so I think that's what I try to get to students is, yeah, great having you in class. I appreciate the efforts, but tell me more, right? And even if that means you're not going to get an A, you're going to get an A minus or a B plus. I think that trade off is okay, right? Like get involved, find clubs, sports, and there's so many more clubs than when I was here. I think there's a Dungeons and Dragons, whatever it is. Meet people, get involved, get to know faculty, administration, right? Like I can't tell you who the dean was when I went to school here, right? But the world has shifted where I think professors are more approachable, administration is more approachable. I say just take advantage of that.
That's a very valuable piece of advice, at least in my opinion, in the sense that what you're saying, people matter. You may have all the technology, but you go and interact with people, get to know them. You learn a lot more, which complements everything that's happening in your life. Build those relationships, because those relationships are going to stay with you lifelong. I mean, even your examples. I mean, when you wanted to go to the doctoral program, you send an email to a faculty.
Well,
you come here.
Needed references, and I'm honestly like, oh shoot, I've worked so hard on working hard. I don't know if I'm going to get a reference, and that didn't happen.
So sort of segue into a slightly different but a related topic is, I see students who come here are uncertain about what they want to do. I'm pretty sure you're seeing your fair share of students who really don't seem to have found what they want to do, and they keep saying, I don't know what to do. What is your advice to the students?
Well,
particularly, I mean, if someone comes and says, I don't know what to do with life, and they're in college.
Be an accounting major. No, somewhat joking, but keep walking, keep stepping, right? Especially the way the curriculum is at Whitewater, you don't need that answer day one. And maybe that's starting associates at Rock County, and then whatever it is, just start stepping, because the sooner you can start those steps, the sooner you're going to get to know where I think you want to be. And for me, what could I have done entrepreneurship based on a lot of places I went in life? I could have. I didn't know that at that time, but that didn't really hurt me, right? Maybe entrepreneurship, I would have been more successful, but I don't think there's ever a perfect answer. I know when I graduated, I think the statistic was the average person changes careers like 7 times in their life. And I'm pretty close to 7, so hopefully I'm here for a while. But don't be scared, right? Don't be scared to start that step. It may not be exactly the right path, but if the path has to change, do it, right? I do hear students that'll go, well, this is what my parents want me to do. I don't want to upset parents if you're listening to this, but if it's close to what you want to do, go with it. But if it's very extreme, you got to have an honest talk with your parents that this isn't what I want to do the rest of my life. Same idea. I've heard students go, I really love accounting, but I'm this major, and if I change, I'm going to have to stay another semester. It's one more semester compared to the rest of your life. Do it. Finish this and then do a master's, right? You said, I really wish I did finance instead. Finish accounting, go get a master's in finance. Like, you got your whole life. The 4 years or 5 years or 3.5, if you get out early, I don't think has to dictate where you go. And if you really do college right, I think the experiences you learn make you so well-rounded that everything will work out.
Very valuable advice. If I had to paraphrase in a couple of words, would be persist. Just don't give up. In the long, when you have a long career ahead of you, it'll work out.
Yeah.
Just don't give up right now.
Don't give up. And what I'd add, because I see this too, right? You come out of high school where grades work slightly different. I'm not a high school teacher, so I don't want that to come off wrong, but the belief that if I don't get A's in all my classes, I'm not going to be good at that, right? I'll have a student that gets an A minus or B plus in accounting. They're like, I'm going to change majors. I'm not any good at this. And I'm like, don't give up on what you think you want to do because you got a B plus, right? Right now, last 10 years, no one's like, what grade did you get in that class, right? that difference goes away. So
Yep.
if it's where you want to go, if you get through it and you're
Yeah.
persistent, go for it.
Yep. And being an accountant, I can share this with you. Sometimes students struggle with accounting.
Yeah.
And when they come and talk to me, I said, it doesn't matter if you get a C. And if your skills are elsewhere, focus on that, but you still need accounting. And it doesn't matter that you got a C or a B minus, you did it. You finished it instead of giving up and moving on somewhere else or not doing it at all.
Yeah.
So it's not, life is not all about grades, it's the holistic learning experience that we can provide.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to shut down a little bit and go, I'm just not good at that. I'm not that major. I'm not this. And that therefore it makes it okay
Mm-hmm.
to not do well.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just say here at Whitewater, my office is on the same side as finance,
Mm-hmm.
supply, safety, all the groups. Doors are always open.
Mm-hmm.
If stuff isn't going well, you reach out, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a life thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would just say that it's a life thing. If you're struggling with mental health, you reach out to somebody. That you don't bear that yourself, right? So if you're struggling with accounting, reach out to someone. That's not your job to figure out on YouTube. Reach out. And I think
Mm-hmm.
Whitewater does a really good job with those resources, but those resources
Yeah.
can only meet you so far. You gotta,
Yeah.
you know.
And you don't have to be in just being in industry. You can come back to academics. I mean, there's a whole lot of opportunities. You just don't have to stick to what you thought your life was going to be when you graduated or when you came and started your program here. So, Brian, is there anything that I didn't ask that you'd like to share with our audience?
I didn't know what you were going to ask. To say that there's a question you didn't
Yeah.
ask. No, I've been very fortunate I'm very fortunate I came to Whitewater.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh, Fortunate you came out with a doctorate program. Fortunate I got hired. And some of that might just be I was right place, right time, network. But everything's worked out. I think it's a great place.
Yeah.
I think it prepared me for whatever it is, even if I ended up not being here as a teacher anymore. I think I have a skill set that I will be able to find a job and life will keep
Yeah.
going.
Fascinating and amazing life story, a career path. And there's so much that our listeners could pick from what you shared with us, and things that don't be just stuck with one little thing. This is my life, and this is what I'm going to do. Even the fact that when you're here, you involved in CEO too, but you never took your eyes off accounting. You finished the accounting, but it broadened your perspective and the things that you tried out in your professional life before becoming an academic. It's fascinating, and as our listeners have a lot of things to take from what you just shared, Brian. And I'm very happy personally that you're my colleague here.
Thank you.
And 9 years, and wishing you a lot more years here as a colleague. And probably I could be retired, but you would have a lot more years here. So again, thank you so much, and thanks for joining us today. And wishing you the very best.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ambrose. Thank
Yep.
you.
Thanks so much for joining us today. Stories like this are exactly why we do this show, to highlight the foundational moments that make up our careers. If you enjoyed this conversation, subscribe to the Dean's Table wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if this episode resonated with you, share it with someone else that could benefit from it. Dean's Table is part of the Warhawk Business Voices podcast network. You can find all our episodes at uww.edu/CoBE/podcasts. I'm Paul Ambrose, and we'll see you at the table next time.